Marcy,
Mark?
do you have a life insurance policy?
I actually do.
I do too. Why?
And you know what? We did that like early on in our marriage. We did so many things wrong in the beginning, but that is something that we dealt with, probably because my dad was already dead by the time we married, so it was very important to me.
And because I went to work for a company that sold life insurance at the time. And I was like,
Boom!
You're client number 2. We bought some good old mutual funds back then too. So we are going to talk about 3 reasons that women don't have enough life insurance.
And why they should have more.
I'm Mark McKay.
And I'm Marcy McKay.
Welcome to Sage Smart Solutions. Please join us weekly as we look at new and exciting ways to protect your assets and retire tax-free. All right, Marcy, what's a reason women need more life insurance?
Okay, top 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is just pure statistics. Research has shown that 80% of men die married, while 80% of women die single. Let me say that again. 80% of the men out there are going to be married when they die, but 80% of women will be single. So they're either widowed by that point, divorced. It is just a fact of life.
So, and the point is there that you're managing your finances.
Right.
You're responsible for the income. And, this is an issue not because life insurance is a very important women's issue. One of the things you just said, you mentioned your father, and is it's important how much insurance is on the man, because there is a likelihood that you will be using some of those proceeds that the woman is going to need to live off that, or keep the family going, or keep the house, that kind of thing. So
right.
I had no idea that it was 80%, that it was that stark.
Yeah.
That
It's
men
huge.
have an 80% chance
They're still
of dying while married.
Right.
Women, no, this doesn't work for us because, I'm in great shape.
But, it's not always sickness.
No, I make a lot of people mad. So. It's going to be vehicular homicide, little road rage.
So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is life expectancy, which kind of ties into number 1. But the research shows that 70% of all baby boomer women, so that's women born from 1946 through 1964, they are going to outlive their husbands. So they're going to outlive their husbands. Women tend to marry men older than them, even if it's just by a year or 2, but they tend to marry men older than them.
Well, that compounds. If you've got
Absolutely.
a 7-year longer life expectancy and they're 3 years older to start, there's 10 right there. So.
Absolutely. So then if the woman does become a widow, she tends to outlive her husband by 15, 20, 25 years or more. And in my family's case, my mom was 44 when Dad died, and he was 52. He's been gone over 34 years. And so, this is just something I'm very, very passionate about, because it has affected my family personally, and because you care about my family, this has always been something. And plus, we have a daughter, and so this is something that's very, very important to us.
And one thing to remember, we use life insurance as a planning tool,
right,
in a myriad of different ways, from very complex buy-sell arrangements between, say, 2 neurosurgeons who own a practice together,
right,
which neurosurgeons don't usually have practices, they have big clinics, but
let's make them orthopedic surgeons.
They could be family medicine, it doesn't matter. Where was I going with this?
Well, you were saying there's a myriad of ways to use life insurance.
The tax-free benefit is
Absolutely.
not something that we often, we talk about it a lot, but the death benefit.
Right.
So let's say you bought a $5 million policy and you think, okay, that's going to cover my family for this or that. But what if you've got a $5 million IRA or 401k and you think, you know what, they'll have access to this. Well, they have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
And they have to pay taxes on it faster thanks to the Secure Act a couple of years ago. So it's more important, if you're counting on those 401k, those tax-deferred buckets,
right,
knock 30% off the top when you're calculating how much you need to leave your wife and kids, or your husband and kids, or your kids, or your church, whatever it may be.
Right.
But taking the fact that it's tax free makes planning that much easier, because you don't have to put in that wiggle room for whatever Congress. I'm sure Congress is going to get their act together and balance the budget, and we're going to have steady revenue growth with decreasing expenses for the foreseeable future. But just in case, it's nice to have some money.
A backup plan.
That the I can't even think of names for these guys anymore. But
Yahoos.
That's way too nice.
I'm trying to keep it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it PG.
All right, where were we? Life expectancy.
Yeah. So reason number one, just statistically, women outlive men. That's also life expectancy. But reason number three is women are the heads of their households. I mean, 50% of women own zero life insurance, yet more than 50% of them are the breadwinners of their home. And even if they do not work outside their home, and I didn't mean that even to sound like, well, but, women tend to run the household, whether they work full-time, part-time, stay-at-home moms, single moms.
And this particular stat.
Right. That's terrifying.
Well, that's actually, they are the heads of household. They are
Right.
responsible for the expenses and the income, whether that means, dad's gone, dead, or,
Right.
deadbeat. I don't know.
Right.
But 50% of women
Are the heads of their household.
and 50% of women don't have
Don't
any
have
life insurance.
any, and that is absolutely terrifying. And so, because of all the reasons I've shared leading up to this, that they outlive the men if they're married, women tend to lead poverty in retirement because the families are not adequately prepared. And all these statistics come from 2019, before the pandemic.
Well, let's go back to say
Okay.
that poverty, that people experiencing poverty in retirement
Tend to be women
is more likely to be
a female
it affects
issue.
women more in
Absolutely.
retirement. So
But what I was going to say, post-pandemic, they're starting to do studies. Because of the pandemic, women took on even bigger roles within their household. If they did work full time, they worked all day long from home. If they had children, they were the full-time teachers. They were the full-time armchair therapists. I mean, they talked about the first and second shifts that women had before the pandemic became also third and fourth shifts. So, women carry huge burdens, but financially they're not prepared if, the unthinkable happen. And I don't know why I say unthinkable, because we're all going to die at some point, just they aren't prepared. And so we want to educate women, or if you have wives or daughters or granddaughters, to be more prepared for your family financially.
yeah, I want to talk about one thing. Some of the statistics you gave actually are an argument that they don't need insurance as much if you kind of think about it. The fact that the man is more likely to die first means he needs insurance more.
Right.
But that's purely as an income replacement tool, as
true.
a death benefit.
Right.
And a lot of times what we'll do is that if we have a situation where the husband passes away, we will take a chunk of that and set up a tax-free retirement plan for the wife, for the kids, so that we can say, okay, if we move this $250,000 now, we know that you'll have $75,000 a year in tax-free income, not affected by the stock market,
Right.
not affected by rising interest rates, not affected by rising tax rates. So it's a little nuanced when we say
Absolutely.
these are reasons women need
Yeah.
life insurance.
Good point.
And I do think that the gap between what is being utilized and presented to the average male investor.
So like a gender gap.
I think that if I go into the average small business that is run by two women,
Right.
there's less likelihood that they're going to have an effective buy-sell agreement or a cash value cash management tool for some of these more sophisticated strategies that if you go, and I don't want to sound cliche, but a lot of it's because they play golf with the guy.
Right.
They go out and they play golf and they have 3 hours to discuss
Right.
a complex buy-sell agreement for their podiatry practice.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that is just because it's not being presented to the women entrepreneurs and business owners and employees out there.
Right. So the 3 reasons women tend to outlive men.
Let's say that stat one more time. 80% of men will die married.
80% of women will die single. So women outlive men. They outlive their husbands. They are the heads of their households. And so, bottom line, women pay the price for not having enough life insurance for their families. And so it doesn't just affect them, it affects their children. Can we not pay the bills? Can I not send you to college? I'd love to help you start this business when your child grows up. I mean, it can be devastating.
That's one of the nicest features when we talk about the SAGE method, where we're using a leveraged, safe tier 1 asset like cash value life insurance, and we're structuring it to maximize the cash value in the early parts of the policy so it gets up and running. When you've got a financial plan, let's say you go to your financial planner. You go to some guy who brags about the fact that he's a financial planner and he's got you need to do this, you need to and we're going to pay off this, and we're going to get 12% return on our equity mutual funds, which is
I like the cockeyed eyebrow.
But
12%.
But what you don't have that we don't mention with some of our plans, we'll go in there and say, okay, in 20 years this is going to produce $50,000 a year in tax-free income.
Right.
You know what? But what happens if you get hit by the bus?
Right.
What happens if Bob from accounting shanks one off the toe of the club and it hits you in the It's a really random example. Don't stand in front of Bob from accounting when he's tee off and the company scrambles. So, but the plan we put together,
know what's going to happen.
It has an autocomplete feature.
Right.
So, it's one of those things where we'll put it together and say, okay, if we do this and this and this, we're going to get 15% return. If something happens to you, you get 92% return or 300% return, depending on when it happens and how it's structured. But knowing that, talk about peace of mind.
Right.
You say, what? Here's my plan I put together, and it's the entire plan.
Right.
It's we're going to put some money in here. We're going to grow it this way. We're going to pull it out of here. We don't have to worry about market volatility. We don't have to worry about rising interest.
I love that. Not tied to the stock market at all.
But if I have an aneurysm when I'm 38, my kids are still taken care of.
I love that.
My wife is still taken care of. So please like this video, subscribe to our channel. Go ahead and watch the next one, learn more about it. But if you are ready to move forward, click below on the Watch Our Masterclass. It'll send you a link. You can watch a 40-minute video.
It's very educational.
You will learn something, and it will make sense. And you'll think, okay, let's apply that common sense tactic to my retirement.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great week.